Hello everyone, it's Simon from High Plane Games. Hope you are having a great day and welcome to Unexplored. It's a top-down rogue-like dungeon crawler which specialises in being random generated in all of its level design challenges, puzzles, monsters, bosses, drops, altars, forging materials, everything. Each level has a seed which you can see in the top left-hand side, so you can keep your previous run if you want to redo a set of levels that work really well for you, or you can just completely randomise your playthrough every single time. So I'm going to stay with challenging. Look at my wonderful Rodney, the 12th. Now this game is great and I really enjoy it. It's got one or two little clunky things that they're still ironing out at the moment. There's a few bugs in places. I found some little bits of slowdown and a couple of crashes here and there, but it's on version 1.1.1 at the moment, and they're working very hard at bringing lots and lots of updates constantly over its opening few weeks, and it doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon, so that's really good. What I want to talk about why this game is great though is purely around its randomly generated levels and why they are so good. So, when I talk about randomly generated levels, and say hello to Rodney, my little one-eyed bird. I know it's a blonde man, but he looks like a bird to me. I want it to go. So when you're doing a randomly generated level, you go from point A to point B, and that's kind of the end of it, isn't it? Because everything needs to fit within certain parameters, because if it doesn't fit within that, then no one can complete the level, and then it's like game over for everyone, because the level is... It's like a failed level because it can't do anything. I'm just trying to show you some of the things that people can do with. There's a forging table there, but we don't have anything to forge with, or enough to forge with yet. And so whenever you're dealing with a randomly generated level or a game that is entirely randomly generated, quite often levels look and feel the same, and that is purely because they're all having to deal with every player being able to complete every level, and so you're working within a limited scope. Now I'm just diving back and forth on the gliding section there just to show you that there was one way to get across things. But the way how Unexplored tries to explain itself and how it deals with level design is it calls it cyclic level design. So instead of looking at just a linear fashion of getting from point A to point B through essentially decision trees of does this allow you to work, does this allow things to work, yes or no? Should we have this thing in this level, yes or no? Do you want points, I don't know, do you want a bridge in? Yes, no. No. What this does instead is it works entirely on you can see there I'm now stuck, the door won't move because I've gone through it. This game works entirely on working out loads and loads of different points to get to point A to point B and then meshing them all together. So you can get from point A to point B, but you may not be able to get from point B to point A without having to go through C first, and then C gets you back to A, as opposed to like vice versa and all of that kind of stuff. And so what is really, really key... Ooh, that was a fish. Let's see if I can kill my little troll. Oh, we're going to run out, you know. Not gonna work very well. Let's get out of the water before the fishes eat us. Let's eat some rations. Ha! You're not really hitting back very much, which is nice. Hey! Oh, fell off. There we go. Right. So, apologies for that random distraction. So the big thing here is that because you don't necessarily have to be able to get back through things, is that you can do things that will cut off a certain route, because there will always be different ways to get back somewhere if you work out how. And that's why it asks you in advance, do you want X amount of puzzles, do you want a lot of different monsters, that kind of stuff, because it's basically opening up, right, well, how to Spirit are going to be the different routes back for you to understand how to get there. And that is the beauty of this game, is that because so much of the game deals with all of that, as those turrets like to fire arrows, it means that you have all of these different options available for you when it comes to this randomly generated design. And so I could have skipped pretty much all of that and just come here and dive down the stairs for me to get to the next level that will then kind of like continue along the trend, which is really, really fantastic. And basically what this game does is it opens up randomly generated levels to really mean something. Ooh, careful. But it's not just that is the big things that it can do. So the inventory system is great. You've got loads of inventory that you can use. You can try out potions on yourself, which thankfully that one gives me extra strength. Or we can try out a different potion, and that actually blinds us because it's full of smoke. So that probably wasn't a good one to try on ourselves. You've got the map that you can kind of work out where you are. You've got stuff that you can throw. I could, in theory, pick up the smoke and actually throw it at someone else themselves. Now that didn't actually hit an enemy, so it didn't really matter. I'm going to fall down. Will I get that across? Yes, I will. You've got altars that you can offer up things to. Let's offer up. Should we offer up a book? See what it does. Shoulder you're my burden with me. Thanks. And so there's loads of different ways of getting around and doing things. So here, I could end the level by diving down further if I wanted to. But actually, I could continue on around this broken ledge, but now I can't get back that way, so I'm going to have to find another alternative route around. Let's grab a skill stone as well whilst I'm at it. There's extra doors over here, so if I find those particular levers, I've got another part to explore. And so what it does is, the developer says that it makes levels feel a little bit more handcrafted and much more like it's actually been thought out and planned in advance. And I have to agree, actually, that it really does make me feel like that is how things are worked. So, what I'm going to do is save and quit out of that, and we're going to try a different one, and we're going to randomise again, just so that you can see what the differences are between the different levels, because I think it's quite handy to see just how randomly different things are, even when they're in like a set environment to start off with, and then the environments will start to change as well. Tons of different monsters, tons of different bosses. You can find scrolls and then basically try them out on yourself or throw them at other people and see what happens to them. There's traps to avoid and unblock or fix. It's going to be overgrown entrance for this one. So that looks like the way out from there. Anything else? Nope. You can look and peek through doors if you want, but I'm being brave and bold. Oh, a lockpick. Love that, thank you very much. So we're out in the desert, and clearly desert beetles are a thing. Who knew? Pick for this. So we're getting stuff for crafting by the looks looks of it here. There we go. Oh, Steam achievement. Nimble fingers. And of course you've got the hiding mechanic as well. Whenever you're using a weapon, it will blacken out whilst it's on recharge for you to use it. Oh, hello. Oh, have an amulet, thank you very much. And we can also, in fact, let's try this out. Oh, descend. So that scroll essentially then lets us randomly generate the next level. So it didn't need to hit a door, we just continued on. Where we ended up? Cramped ground of cunning. Okay. Mosquitoes. There's an open door over there. Again, we can lockpick. So books, you can understand more about like bosses that are going to be coming up and that kind of thing. It'll give you like hints and tips of how to get round them, essentially. Ooh, spear. A spear looks better than a dagger, surely. So there's the end. And that's water for a thingamabob. Here we are, and the Flooded Glue is another book. So yeah, I hope this has been of some use to kind of understand and show just how different and interesting some of the level design here is, and just how integral, I guess. There's a key. That's a very easy key. Oh, it's not that key that will open it. Oh, hello. Never mind. Ooh. Oh, you're annoying. Get out of here. So yeah, that very much is Unexplored. Available on Steam now. I thoroughly recommend it. Really great game. Doing something right for randomly generated levels. What can you say about that? Anyway, till next time, you guys will take care. And hopefully, you won't leave your dungeons unexplored. Bye for now. From Rodney and Dean. Christ, those mosquitoes are everywhere. Rodney, we've got to run. Ooh, unlocked. intrigued. What does it do? Ooh. Detect magic. Whack, whack. Dog, rabbit, hound. So that detected magic across. Now I get it. Oh, but that also showed. Doors to escape. Really? Hey, no you do. It's quite a splattered little ground we've got going on. Let's smash it. So that's not for that. Where is that for? Is that for that? Okay. Oh wow. I shall puzzle this one out myself. Oh no, actually I don't do that. Don't drown! Yes. Ah, well there's the way out. That's correct. Nicely done, Smithy.